Hi, welcome. Thank you so much to my subscribers, and to my new subscribers, welcome. This video is for you guys. Now, today's video is based on a question that was asked about how to shave underneath the nose, because it's one of the more challenging areas of the face. So today is dedicated all about shaving the curvatures and especially under the nose. So I have a few days of growth. Today I'm going to be shaving with the Dr. John's lemongrass and geranium, which is probably my most favorite scent that I've ever smelt in shaving soaps. It smells of roses and things. I've loaded up a Game Changer 0.84 millimeter razor with a brand new Gillette Platinum blade. So that's what I'm going to be shaving with. And let's have a bit of a chat today about shaving curvatures on the face. Now, if you've watched my beginner budget video, you'll see how I talk about angulation and how to shave at that 30-degree angle. You know, some razors, you know, the angle can be quite forgiving, and other razors, it's very, very specific and tight. Like, for example, this Rockwell, there's a sweet spot, and you can feel when you've gone too far or too far above or too far below that sweet spot. It also has a very, very bulky head, which is the reason why I've chosen to show this razor. I'm not going to use this razor, I'm just showing it, and we're going to compare it to other razors. So the first thing is the nose looks like this. It looks like a mug, and the nose is made out of cartilage, and it's quite malleable in that you can move the nose around. So obviously the main point is that you can move your nose when shaving underneath it. So this is a very, very important point for beginners. Don't be afraid to move your nose out of the way to get those hairs that are under the nose. Now, unfortunately, I'm blessed for this channel, but I have hair that goes all the way into my nose. It's not a very pleasant thing to discuss, but it's important to show you that this is really important for me. Some gents, their hair doesn't grow into their nose, mine does, and all the way under it. You know, and I've got a very challenging large nose to deal with. So what the main point of shaving is maintaining that 30-degree angle when we shave. So when we go around curvatures of the face, like the jaw, I said I shave it in, I think of it in three sections: the cheek, the jaw, and then the neck. So they're the three sections that I divide my cheeks into and my neck. Now, around the chin, around the mouth, and around under the nose, and below the between the lip and the nose, it's curved. So we address that in a different way. Now, very important is that a razor is flat. It's a flat cutting object, much like a knife. So it's not going to curve around and be so forgiving around corners, like around the jaw here or under the nose. So you're essentially shaving with a knife that's perpendicular to the hand. This is the equivalent of a blade, and it's a blade with a handle, essentially. That's what you're shaving with. So, and it has scalpel-like sharpness. So let's get into it, let's shave, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I do under the nose and the way I address curvatures of the face with my big nose. Look at that. It's a big schnoz. So I've already done up the lather with this Yaqi moka synthetic brush. It's a different brush to what I normally use, but I love synthetics, and I think Yaqi produce good synthetics. I'm not being paid. But if you're after one of the better brushes that are on the market at a lower price, that's where I recommend you probably spend a little bit of time researching. Okay, so this stuff smells great. This stuff smells really good. I haven't done a first impressions with this particular soap, but man, this is right up my alley. Test for the slickness. It feels good. I've never done a full face shave with this stuff before. So let's get started. got the Gillette Platinum blade loaded up, and let's start going for that. You can see the angle at which I'm using here. So I'm not using this angle, and I'm not using a 90-degree angle. Some people like to what's called ride the cap. A safety bar is there for a reason, and we're just simply stroking off the hair using a push cutting action. So let's go for this and observe that angle. It's very important that you get that angle right. Now around the jaw, I'm going to use this curving action. And so this is how I address the jaw and the neck in this curving action. And the nose is exactly identical to that. So when we pull the nose out of the way, one of the important things that you want to try to avoid is you want to avoid using a blade. I'll just use the back of the knife, because this is your blade with a handle that's here. You want to avoid cutting into the nose itself, especially the base of the nose. So when you approach this area, you pull the nose out of the way, and then you curve. You use this curving angular action. I'm just using the back of a knife here to demonstrate how we approach that. Now obviously there'd be a handle there, and this is what we want. And we also pull the nose out of the way, and we curve underneath here using the razor. And I'll show you how I use the razor. So we go into the moustache area, and I leave my nose as a separate part. So I've shaved here, here, and here, and then I've left the nose alone, because for me, the curvatures are like the jawline. It's a different technique that I'm going to be using. So I pull this out of the way, and then I start to use that curving action where I press it in, and I get that 30-degree angle as I'm curving it. And same on the, so this is the outside of the nostril. Now in the middle of the nostril, I use more the tip. So this, the edge of the razor blade, just here, is like a tip of a knife. So I'm using that tip of the knife to get under there, like this. Okay, and so this is how I clear. Then to get inside, I use the tip on the other side to clear. So I'm using 1, 2, and 3. And then underneath the base of the nose, curving. So this is kind of like 4 parts of the nose: the outside, the inside on the inner part of the nostril, here and here. Sorry, I can use lateral and medial, but that's not going to be understood. And the same thing on this side. And you can see that I'm using my hand to guide and to curve the blade to cut. And then on the outside of the nostril, pull it away, the nostril. And even if you want, use that tip, use the point, and just clear out. And so when using the point, if I'm cutting here, I'm angling it this way, and just using the very point of that blade. Now, this particular razor has got its tabs covered. But say for example, so there's a little bit more of space between the point and the corner of the razor. Whereas something where it's tabless, where the tabs aren't covered, there's a little less space between the corner of the safety bar and the blade. So this makes it a little bit easier to use when the tabs aren't covered by the length of the razor. So that's really important. And you can see by scooping under, you can just clean out the nose. Now, I recommend, especially for beginners, just go with the grain in these directions. You can use a point just to clear out, One of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to go against the grain up here too much, because what you're going to be doing is often you'll drive that blade as you go upwards directly against the hard end, which is the cartilage of the nose, and you might cut yourself quite badly, especially if you use the straight razors. Boys that use straight razors, typically they don't go against the grain under the nose, just because it's more dangerous. Okay, let's do the other side. I'll moisten up this lather a bit. Add a little bit more water. And let's go. So again, I'll try to get that angle on camera. Coming down to the jaw. Yeah. Chin. Okay, it's like a shelf, but I'm still getting that 30-degree angle. And then around the chin. Okay, around the other part. And what I do is I lift my neck up to get a little bit of skin stretching as well. And you can see, I wasn't watching the mirror, but you can see just all the hair just coming off with a very nice, efficient razor. Okay, let's wash the face, rinse it. And let's go for a second pass now. And you can see, I'll try to show any stubble that I've missed because I wasn't watching in the mirror. You can under the nose, the little hairs, and we're going to fix all of that up now with the second pass. So anything you've missed, just pick it up on your subsequent passes. This is very, very nice, this scent. It's really, 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 for me, rose feels luxurious. And this gets me into a very, very good mood when you lather. Now, let's talk a little bit about bulky heads. Now, a bulky head is far more challenging because the blade juts out and you've got this head to deal with. And you can see the difference in, say, the Game Changer head versus the Rockwell. Rockwell is an okay razor. I'm not bagging it out, but there's certainly a big difference between precision and a very thin razor head, which allows for very detailed work, versus this very bulky head, which, and a very rounded, more rounded safety bar. So there is a difference between these type of razors. So let's go. Let's do the beginner shave just with the grain, 2 passes. Try to get that angle. So although you're not seeing the skin being cut, observe the angle of the handle relative to the blade. That's very, very important. I'll try to capture that on camera. Now, shorter strokes are better when you have less hair on the face. More hair on the face. So if you've got, 5 days of growth for your first pass, generally shorten it up because the blade will, the razor will clog, and then you turn it around, and then when you have less hair, you can just begin to a nice sweeping push cutting action with longer strokes. So longer strokes are more suited to less stubble. So that angle is the most important to allow and to gain that dexterity of moving the wrist and the arm in a sweeping action. You've got a very sharp blade that's like as sharp as a samurai sword, and you're wielding the curves. You're going over the various curvatures, maintaining that angle. And that's the skill of using a safety razor, is that it doesn't flex and that you are the flex point. So under the nose, simply, and move the nose away, because if you come down on the nose and you haven't moved it away, the first thing that blade is going to contact is here, and you can cut yourself because it bows around. So pull it up, get it out of the way, and then come in under. That's the best way to clear that nose. Again, on the inside, look at the angle. Look at the angle. Clear. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Repeat on the other side. And if you have like this that sticks out, just pull it up a bit. So always be prepared to manipulate your face. Stretch out the skin simply by pulling down on your face. Pull the nose away. Perfect cut every time. And that way there's less risk of cutting yourself, and you can get nice clean angles. So that's how to shave under the nose. Thank you for watching. I'm going to rinse up now and put some balm on. I'll just tidy up the sideburns. So busy talking. Any parts that I've missed, observe. Simple 2-pass shave. Hot water to rinse it off. Pat dry. And to match the scent that I've been using, I'm just going to use that GOF Trumper Coral Skin Food. So yeah, that's the specific focus. Don't be afraid to manipulate your face, either by using your fingers, by opening and closing your mouth, you know, stretching out. You're going to make lots of funny faces when shaving. Don't be afraid to move your nose out of the way, to pull down on your lip, and to get into those areas. If you've missed, say, a little bit underneath, you know, the lip, pull the lip, and just come down. It's really that simple. Don't be afraid to get up close to the mirror and do little small detailed work. That's going to develop your skill. Now, you know, people use a knife like a hammer grip, okay? But there's many ways to hold a knife, especially like a paring knife, depending on what kind of work you're doing. So think of it like that. If you're holding a knife, you can use a pinch grip. You can use a hammer grip. You know, if you're doing detailed carving, you can even hold it like this. You can pinch the blade itself to do detailed carving. I mean, a lot of Thai fruit carvers, They actually hold it, and then they do very, very detailed, very small work, like a scalpel. So just because you've got this whole blade, now for the beginner, obviously pinching a blade is not really a sensible thing to do, but as you begin to develop familiarity with it, you know, safety first, you can do very detailed work holding onto the blade, you know, even holding on to pinching the blade on a larger knife. And think of it like you're peeling a watermelon, you know, we'll top and tail the watermelon, and then we'll go around, we'll follow the curvature of the outside of the watermelon. So if this is our watermelon, we're cutting off the skin and we're following the curvatures. And it's the same thing that when you use a razor, is that you're going to follow the curvatures. Look at the angle of the handle as it changes. So you're changing the angle by following the curvatures. You're not going to go down like this and thinking that you're going to cut through here. You're going to have to vary that angle. And the nose is the same thing. So when you're underneath the nose, curve, curve, curve. You know, like ride that curve and follow that. And really avoid pressing the blade downwards into the skin. Rather, you're slicing the hair off the surface of the skin. So focus between the skin and the end stubble, rather than slicing on top of the stubble. That's my main tip for shaving around the nose and shaving the curvatures. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.